What's up, Yichi here. In this video, we're going to talk about everything you need to know if you're a first-time home buyer here in Ontario. Now, in order to buy a home, we need two things. We need a down payment, which is essentially cash in the bank, and we need a mortgage, which is essentially a loan from a bank. For a complete guide on buying a home, check out my video in the description. This video, we're just going to be talking about tips for first-time home buyers. All right, let's jump right in. The first thing we can take advantage of as first-time home buyers is the First Home Savings Account. This is something new that was implemented by the government this year, and you are eligible if you are over 18 years old. Essentially, you can contribute $8,000 a year up to a limit of $40,000. This account combines the benefits of the TFSA and the RRSP. Essentially, any gains in this account can be withdrawn tax-free. So if you invest using this account into GICs, mutual funds, stocks, you name it, you can withdraw it just like the TFSA tax-free if that money is being used to buy your first house. In addition, just like the RRSP, contributions to this account are actually tax deductible, meaning we can decrease our taxable income and potentially pay less taxes at the end of the year. TFSA contributions are not tax deductible, and RRSP withdrawals are not tax-free because we have to pay that money back within 15 years. So essentially, this account combines the benefits of both. This account is a great way for Canadians to save up for their first home, but it's not enough. There are a few problems with this account. Number one, the total amount you can contribute into this account is $40,000. If you're buying a house in the GTA, $40K is most likely not enough for the down payment of a property. The second problem is, let's say you were able to contribute the max amount, which is $8,000, and you were able to return 8% on that $8,000, which is pretty tough to do in today's market. Well, that means you've made $640 tax-free. That's a very immaterial amount and definitely not enough when you're talking about buying potentially $1 million house. Okay, the second thing we need to know as first-time home buyers is the first-time home buyer incentive. Now, this one is very interesting. Essentially, the government will give us 5% for the down payment of our house if we're buying a resale property. If we're buying a new build, it's 5 to 10%, and that will essentially allow us to have a smaller mortgage and have smaller monthly mortgage payments. Now, there's no such thing as a free lunch, so we have to fork up some equity to the government as well. Now, the home buyer will have to repay this incentive amount based on the market value of the home at the time of repayment. You will have to pay this amount back within 25 years or when you sell the property, whichever one comes first. The government will share on both the upside and the downside of your property. So for example, if you bought it and then you sold it for a profit, well, now you owe the government the incentive plus up to a maximum of 8% per annum, not compounded. If you sell the house for a loss, the government will share on the downside as well, meaning you will owe the incentive minus up to 8% per annum, not compounded. This account honestly isn't that bad because 5% off of your mortgage is a pretty sizable amount and can really decrease your monthly payments. The only downside is you fork up equity to the government and they can kind of just change the rules whenever they want. So there's a bit of risk involved. Really only use this incentive if absolutely necessary. The third thing we must know about is the home buyer's plan. This plan essentially allows us to withdraw up to $35,000 from our RRSP as sort of an interest-free loan if that amount is going towards the purchase of our first home. Typically, withdrawals from your RRSP are considered taxable income, but with this plan, you can withdraw from your RRSP tax-free if that money is going towards the purchase of your first house. However, keep in mind, we have to pay the amount back within 15 years. Okay, so this account is actually pretty decent if we already have money saved in our RRSP. However, if we don't, this doesn't really do much for us. The fourth thing we must know about is land transfer tax. When we buy a property here in Ontario, we have to pay land transfer tax. If you're buying a property in Toronto, you actually have to pay this tax twice. Now, this tax is calculated based on a tiered system based off the purchase price of your property. If you are a first-time home buyer, you can get up to $4,000 off as a rebate when you buy your first house. Don't worry about the logistics. Just simply tell your lawyer at the time of closing and they will deduct that amount from your final closing balance. The fifth thing that we must know about is the first-time homebuyer's tax incentive. When we file our taxes next year on line 31270, first-time homebuyers who buy a qualifying home can actually get a $750 tax credit. And the final thing, this doesn't just apply to first-time home buyers, but we should be aware of it. It is the capital gains tax exemption. Canadians can designate one property as their principal residence, and when they sell that, they will not have taxable capital gains. The only catch is we have to live in that residence for the majority of the year, and we can only designate one property. That's it for now. Hopefully this video helps. These incentives definitely make it a little bit easier for Canadians to buy their first house and really help encourage healthy financial habits. However, we're still stuck between a rock and a hard place because it is extremely expensive to own a house in Canada and especially in Ontario and the GTA. There's just not enough supply and way too much demand. So the question is, should the government jump in and create more incentives and try to help out Canadians? Or should the government get out of the way and let the invisible hand of the free market do its thing? That answer, as always, is up to the people. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.